When the news first broke about this so-called Igbo King in Ghana, many laughed, others shrugged it off. Just another story on the timeline, right? Well, that's how you thought. But I didn't laugh. I started digging. Because something about that speech, yes, that speech, about building a gated Igbo Igbo only community right here in Ghana, with Igbo schools teaching Igbo language, Igbo streets with Igbo names of their fallen fathers. Something about that speech sounded really off and really harmful. To me, it sounded again historic. Yes, you see, we've heard this before. Different country, different altitude, same pride, same plan. It began just like this in Nigeria before Biafra burned. And if Ghana sleeps through this moment, if we continue to pretend tribal politics and silent takeovers don't matter anymore, then in the next 50 years, this land we call home could become the next battlefield. This is Inside Studios Network. Remember to subscribe to the channel, follow us on all other social media networks. And whoa, hold on. This is just a video meant for education and clarity, and also sending warnings to people concerned, not for anything dangerous. This episode is called Inside Focus. I will show you what my findings revealed, the truth behind the Igbo King saga, the lessons from the Biafra war, and why I fear Ghana may be walking straight into the same fire. So Ghana woke up to a viral claim and then a storm. A man says he will create an Igbo community on Ghana soil. People exploded, chiefs, ministers, and the public all talking. I dug in. What I found isn't just gossip, it's a warning. Listen carefully. Not to scare you for nothing or to talk about a whole ethnic group, but to make you act when you have to act and make you wake. Now let's look at the first fact. Fact 1. A viral video surfaced of Chukwudi Jude Ehinetu, who styled himself as an Igbo king or Igbo community leader in Ghana, claiming to have acquired a land on the Pram Ningo area.
As I'm talking to you, I've acquired 50 acres of land, that is 250 plus of land along the Flower Road, that is at Old Ningo area. But along that road, it's right on the road, I acquired 250 plus of land. My reason of acquiring this land is to build Igbo village in Ghana. I call it Amandi Igbo in Ghana. We'll build a village where we're gonna build the palace of Igbo there, a huge palace. We'll build Igbo town hall there with about 2,000 capacity chairs and 100 rooms guest house. The essence of this guest house is most of the times our governors and our Igbo great leaders do come to Ghana. You know, they always go with their entourage. If they come to Ghana, their entourage will see where they will lodge for free of charge. We create streets there. We'll create streets that will represent the names of the ancient Igbos. We'll create the streets that will bear the name of Sambakwe Street. That's the ex-governor of Imo State. We'll create a street that will bear the name of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of Nigeria. We'll create a street that will bear the name of Nzogwo. We'll create a street that will bear, of course, the name of my father also, Zemaladi Henetu. And all the great Igbo leaders that they have gone, and those are present, will create streets in their name that will represent them in Igbo village in Ghana. And this Igbo village in Ghana, every Igbo man all over the world have right to come there and buy property. Either you want a plot of land or 2 plots of land to build your dream house. We're also going to build tall buildings of maybe 6th floor or 7th floor. We'll sell them flat by flat. And we will have a single entrance in this Igbo village. When you come in there, you know you're coming into Igbo village in Ghana. From there, Igbos will expand. From there, Igbos will expand. From there, Igbos will expand. From there, Igbos will expand.
And describing plans that some listeners took as intentions to establish an exclusive Igbo enclave, reporters and local leaders traced the clip, and within days, there were strong public reactions. Fact number 2, traditional authorities publicly intervened. The Ghana Traditional Council denounced the idea and moved to block related events, warning of the risk of public order. The Ghanaian Foreign Affairs Minister also publicly debunked claim of Igbo Kingdom and called for respect for Ghana's laws. Days later, Ehinetu issued statement saying he had abandoned the idea and apologized. So follow me down through. These are the facts. Now, why did this short video create a near national panic? Because it touched raw nerves, land, chieftaincy, identity, and who has the right to shape communities in Ghana. Now, when someone who has lived in a country for over 20 years to 30 years plus talks about a gated community for only a single ethnic group, when streets are going to be named after their heroes, and when the plan implies one person will control land sales and property rights, that is not a private dream. It is a public political act. It raises legitimate questions. Who enforces chieftaincy protocols? Who vends land titles? And what happens when foreign nationality starts to create parallel structures? Now, note this: whether or not he meant to start a kingdom, the narrative of exclusivity is dangerous when it goes unchecked. This is not about ethnicity, it is about political power masked as cultural pride. And that is where the danger begins. Now, a quick history of how Biafra became a war. Nigeria's civil war, the Biafra War, erupted after years of political breakdown, coups, massacres of civilians in 1966, and intense fear amongst eastern populations that they had no future within the Nigerian state. These were empty slogans that were mass killings, breakdowns of political institutions, and elite narratives that told a people their only option was separation. Take note of that. The elites narrated and told the people that their only option was separation from the entire nation. 3 years of war with hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, losing their lives. And what is the key lesson in this? Wars like Biafra didn't begin on a single day. They began when grievances, fear, elite secessionist rhetoric, and failing institutions combined. Now, a country like Ghana, that combination is what we must watch for and spot political patterns that turn citizens into combatants. So now let's just oppose the two. Let's put the two side by side. So when we compare the two, we get two similarities. First, exclusive language that suggests a separate community and governance on a foreign soil.
Every woman all over the world have right to come there and buy property. Either you want a plot of land or 2 plots of land to build your dream house. We're also going to build tall buildings of maybe 6th floor or 7th floor. We'll sell them flat by flat, and we will have a single entrance in this Igbo village. When you come in there, you know you're coming into Igbo village in Ghana. From there, Igbos will expand.
Number two, elite rhetoric that frames a group as having a separate destiny. That's a spark if coupled with perceived threats. Even though in Nigeria in the 60s there were breakdowns of governmental bodies and coups and massacres were happening, the institutions weren't strong. That doesn't mean that because Ghanaian leaders and chiefs and institutions responded quickly, Ghanaians should sit and stare at the danger moving towards. Now, the slippery slope I'm warning about. Here is my analysis, raw and unvarnished. If an exclusive enclave model were allowed to stand unchecked, with private authorities to sell lands, name streets, and build parallel institutions like schools and others, then over decades, social separation grows, intermarriage and migration would happen, yes. But what becomes dangerous is parallel political power structures inside Ghana that answers to external loyalties or to a single man's authority. And that is the hinge point. When communities organize not just culturally, but politically and claim rights to sell land and control local governance in a way that weakens local chiefs and national laws, then grievances build. If those grievances are framed up as, unquote, we are denying equality, then meet the resistance and exclusion, you can get cycles that escalate. For example, what I'm trying to say is that in a few years or in some years' time, when these community grows, intermarriages and expand in number, now they have become part of the Ghanaian system. They will seek to engage in chieftaincies and political situations and other benefits a Ghanaian is benefiting. And when they are refused, that is when the issues all began. That is the danger I am raising, not because of ethnicity, but because of unaccountable power. Now, let me take you through a certain stages. I call it the historical timeline, or timeline and historical references for each stage that are so dangerous and critical to what I'm talking about. Now, let's look at the first stage. I call it claim and reaction. Fact. Viral video of land and exclusive community, public outrage after that, statement of apology from Ehine too, right? Good. Now, historical parallel. Early session rhetoric in Nigeria began as public declaration and elite moves. So if you look at the fact I stated, I've given you a historical parallel that matches with it. Now, secondly, I will say this. The second stage is consolidation and parallel institutions. Now, this is the fact mechanism. Land consolidation, private schools or institutions that teaches Igbo languages, community institutions, and many more, leading to the creation of customs that bias national framework. Because they have become a community within a community in a particular nation. What is the historical parallel? Biafra had institutions that organized people around a separate political identity. Now, the final stage is where I call the political mobilization and confrontation. What is the fact mechanism? Claims of political equality and autonomy. Frustration from perceived exclusion when the people are tired that they are not being considered and they are not being given the same rights of as other Ghanaians are enjoying. That is what I'm talking about. And possible mobilization around identity. What is the political parallel? When political channels shut and grievances are deeply felt, population can be mobilized for extreme measures, and that's where war begins. Now listen up, we can stop this. Here's what every Ghanaian and every leader must demand right now. Number one, public land records and forensic audits. Transparent verification of any large purchased and insensitive zones. We have to make sure we find all those information. Secondly, clear enforcement of chieftaincy and local laws. No one can set up parallel authority that overrides traditional council. You cannot do anything, never. So we should check and make sure this is acting and working so strong. Number three, official anti-misinformation rapid response. When viral claims spread, a government desk must provide facts within 24 to 48 hours as a mechanism to find out whether what is going on is true or not, in order to help solve and quiet down situations as soon as possible. Number four, dialogue and inclusion forums. Bring community leaders, immigration representatives, chiefs, and local government to a sustained table. Now, the final one is civic education. Teach citizens how to register grievances and how legal channels are safer than street mobilizations. When we know all these things and put them to check and act on them, these will help to bring down situations whenever they are getting so serious. Now, to close, this is what I have to say. History doesn't just repeat itself, it whispers first. It starts with pride, then separation, then ownership, and finally confrontation. I'm not saying Ghana will burn tomorrow, but I'm saying if we stay silent whilst division grows under our noses, then one day we'll wake up to find out we have handed over our unity piece by piece. We must not wait until tribalism becomes our next imported weapon. Ghana, this is your warning. The time to talk is now. The time to act is now. Don't sit down and think nothing can happen. And we are one Africa, and anybody can do anything on anybody's land. We are one Africa, but that doesn't mean go to one country and disrespect the people, their identity and their sovereignty. Respect the laws and the rules of a country which is hosting you, so that you live there peacefully. Live as a normal person, do your business, take care of your family, and you are good to go. No one is attacking anybody on this. But when you try to go the extreme, that is when the people will come at you. And when they come at you, they are not acting because they hate you, but they are acting because of the fear and the things they perceive in the future, as history is speaking and whispering into their ears. This is Inside Studios Network. Remember to subscribe to the channel and follow us on all other social media networks. What am I still doing here? I'm gone.